Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. If you had a good weekend or a bad weekend, I guess, let me know in the chat. Hopefully, it was a good weekend, though. It was a good weekend for me. Got a lot right, I feel like, in terms of betting and DFS. So I think it was a good weekend, and we have a huge week this week. We've got obviously Thanksgiving week, but there's just so many sports on this week. We've got college basketball tournaments all day, starting now, I think. Let me see. I think these games start like now. Yeah, okay, there's games going on now, but these aren't the like the Maui Invitational and stuff starts. There's some other tournaments going on too. But we've got that all day today. Obviously, we have NBA tonight. We have Monday Night Football tonight. We have NFL on Thursday, 3 games. We have NFL on Friday, 1 game. And then we have Saturday, college football last week of the regular season before conference championship stuff. So huge there. And then we've got full NFL Sunday. I mean, you could make the argument this is the best week of the entire season. Big thanks to you. Finished second out of almost 1,200 NFL main slate. Awesome. Glad to hear it. That's awesome. All right, let's dive in. So we're gonna recap the weekend here, and then talk about Monday Night Football. I have my my one data space on SportWise pulled up just because I wanted to show you guys. We talked about this, I think, on Friday, and I was talking about how Jackson Smith-Njigba and DK Metcalf were both like pretty high up on this list, above guys like, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Drake London. Like, these are all guys that were like Jackson Smith-Njigba. Like, we were getting him in the 6th and 7th rounds. I'm pretty sure, maybe even later. I can't even remember, but I had him as one of my flag plants for season-long leagues, and we were getting him in the mid rounds. And I mean, this opportunity rating, this bakes in some stuff. I think yards, targets, red zone stuff, I think, that I put in it. But yeah. I mean, he's like top 12, 13 in the entire league right now, just in this custom kind of statistic I've made here. He had another massive week, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to go game by game. We're going to talk about all the games. But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was interesting. And there's something else that stuck out to me in here. I don't know. I'll remember later. All right, let's go game by game. I'm going to pull up ESPN first, then we'll come back to SportWise, but we're going to go through the box scores here. How do I do this? There we go. All right. Starting off, first game on here, Vikings-Bears went to overtime. I cannot believe the Bears came back from that. That was actually insane. That was crazy. Caleb Williams, huge day again. I think he led the slate in passing yards. I don't think anyone else had more than 340. I think he had the most passing yards of anybody yesterday. Obviously led that late touchdown drive. I can't believe that they got that onside kick. If you recover an onside kick, there's only going to be like 4 onside kick recoveries for the entire season. Like, if you give up an onside kick recovery, I have no words. And then he completed that pass to DJ Moore to get them in field goal range. That was awesome. Romo Dunce thought he would be more involved. He was open late in the game, and Caleb Williams missed him, but I thought he would have a better game than this. Personally, Keenan Allen smashed. Had a huge day. Roshan Johnson, 2 carries for 2 yards, but got the touchdown. Once again, they went to him on the goal line. I talked about that last week, that he got I think 2 of 3 goal line carries in that first game that Thomas Brown called as offensive coordinator. And then obviously you scored a goal line touchdown yesterday. So that looks like that's something that's going to stick. Overall, though, this was a good game. I saw some people complaining. I don't remember who it was. And it wasn't just one person. I saw multiple people complaining about the 1:00 games at halftime. And then every game just went crazy in the second half. Like that was a good day of football, I would say. It started off slow, but it was an overall good day of football. It started off so weird. Within like 10 minutes of the game starting, Brian Robinson got hurt, and we had like Sean Tucker and Cade Stover had scored touchdowns within the first like 10 minutes. And then Brian Robinson got hurt. Like it just got off to such a weird start, but overall, it was a good day of football, I think. This was a good game though. Bears, I don't know, man. They've looked better since switching offensive coordinators, and I still think they probably fire Eberflus at the end of the season, but maybe I'm wrong. Could be. Vikings, I mean, this is sticking out here. Justin Jefferson had two catches for 27 yards. He said after the game, "Oh yeah, Luke, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. He scored instantly too. So he ended up with 2 touchdowns, but yeah, within like the first 15 minutes of game action, Noah Gray, Cade Stover, and Sean Tucker had all scored touchdowns, and then Brian Robinson just like immediately got hurt. Yeah, you can't be mad at Robinson. I was heavy on Robinson yesterday in DFS. You can't be mad at it. I mean, that stuff happens sometimes. Unfortunate, but it does happen. Justin Jefferson made comments after the game that he was like, "It's either I'm gonna get all the work or we're gonna let them worry about me and let everyone else go off," which is exactly what happened. Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson both went over 100 yards. I talked about that yesterday. I said TJ Hawkinson, he was right in that range of where there was like chalky tight ends on the DFS slate. Thought he was like an interesting pivot. And yeah, he went nuclear. This was a good game though. Let's move on here. Lions Colts, pretty standard game here. I mean, Lions just continue to smoke everyone. Lions are on a short week. They play. Bears are on a short week too. I want to bring that up. So Lions play the Bears on Thursday. So both those teams on short weeks. David Montgomery left the game for a while, but he said he'll be good to go for Thursday. So I thought that was noteworthy. They just continue to do whatever they want on offense. I mean, they want to run the ball, they'll run the ball. Both guys averaged over 4 yards per carry. They combined for 3 touchdowns. If they want to come out and throw the ball like they did against Jacksonville, they're going to do it. If they want to come out and run the ball, they're going to do it. They can do whatever they want. They're the best team in football as of today. Whether or not they, finish the season as the best team remains to be seen. But I don't think anyone has any arguments that they're the best team right now. Pretty quiet game for St. Brown. 6 for 62 is his worst game of the season, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, nothing really sticks out here. On the Colts side, they just shot themselves in the foot. When I was rewatching some of this game, anytime they had a big play, there was a flag. Like multiple long pass plays got called back for Anthony Richardson. So that was unfortunate. Michael Pittman continues to be a warrior, just fighting through injury. 6 for 96 was their leading receiver. I mean, you can tell he's hurt, but he just gets it done anyways. And yeah, other than that, Jonathan Taylor, horrible game, 11 for 35. Detroit's run defense is legit. I don't want to take any running backs against the Lions. I actively avoid that. Being a Bears fan is brutal, but Caleb is showing that he'll be great in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, I think he looks good. I definitely think they need a new coach, but I don't think they're mad about the draft pick. You have good pieces on offense, right? And honestly, the defense is pretty solid too. Like I think that if they get like a good coaching staff in there, I think that they could compete next year. I'm not saying they would win the Super Bowl, but I see no reason why they can't be in the playoff picture, especially in the NFC. Like they should be in the playoff picture. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins are trying their hardest to get in the playoffs here. Broncos won again, so that hurts them. They're still 2 games back of that 7th wildcard spot, I'm pretty sure. But they had another good game. Tua went crazy, 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Devon Achane scored 2 touchdowns once again, both coming through the air. He has been a top 5 fantasy running back in every single week that Tua has played this year, except for one, which I think is 7 games now, which is pretty crazy. I thought it was funny that Miami was up big in the 4th quarter. Started the 4th quarter, Miami was up big. They tried to go to Skylar Thompson and just bring their starters out. He immediately fumbled the ball, and the Patriots scored a touchdown on it, and then they had to bring Tua back in, and he just finished the game out after that. But yeah, same story with the Dolphins. Raheem Mostert continues to get phased out. I mean, Jalen Wright. Part of this could be blowout, but Jalen Wright was more involved early too. Raheem Mostert did get a red zone carry. I think it was inside the 10. He only got a couple yards and then he came back out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's product of him being old and hurt or what. Jalen Waddle, who we talked about on stream last week, finally had a big game, 8 for 144 and a touchdown. Huge game. Clearly the biggest game of the season for Jalen Waddle. Jonnu Smith continues. I was calling him Jonnu Gronkowski yesterday. Once again, this guy just getting the job done. On the Patriots side, I was high on Kayshon Boutte again. He did not do anything. Played a lot of snaps, just didn't do anything. Austin Hooper caught a fluke long touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson, 8 carries for 13 yards. Yeah, this team's a disaster, but I'm still encouraged by what I've seen from Drake May. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, but that was one of the more boring games of the day just because the Dolphins were instantly up big. You can see it right here on this highlight. I mean, Baker Mayfield hitting the Tommy DeVito celebration after running that touchdown in was pretty funny. He didn't throw a touchdown despite almost 300 yards passing. He did run one in. I mean, 4 different players ran a touchdown in for the for the Buccaneers yesterday. I think that one of the glowing marks of a bad team, if you're a really bad team, teams can just run on you at will. And that's exactly what the Buccaneers did. So, look, they're 2-9. We know they're a bad team, but I'm willing to say New York is a really bad team. If you're getting ran on like that, 4 different guys score a rushing touchdown against you, you're just bad. No way to say it. Tommy DeVito's not an NFL quarterback. I don't know really what they're doing with that. I mean, clearly it was a move to worry about draft position, going him over Drew Lock, but yeah, he's just not good. He's just not good. We might have to consider him at DFS though on Thursday. 3-game slate. We're getting Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush. But yeah, he's just, I mean, the guy had a 14 quarterback rating. He's not an NFL quarterback. Fun story, but yeah. Malik Neighbors had 6 for 64. I don't think he caught a pass in the first half, so I don't know what was going on there. He made comments after the game. He was like, you got to ask Brian Daboll about that. I don't understand how someone that the quality of Malik Neighbors does not catch a pass in the first half. Like, come out and just give that guy the ball. I don't understand, really. I thought that was bad. Tyrone Tracy fumbled on the goal line. So later on, Devin Singletary scored a touchdown from the 1-yard line. I don't really think it's anything to be concerned. But I just thought that was worth mentioning. Yeah, Cowboys-Giants on Thanksgiving Day is crazy. That is a crazy game. Mike Evans came back, led the team in receiving. He needs so coming into this week, he needed to average 94 yards per game to reach 1,000 yards. He only had 68 here, so he's going to need some big games down the stretch of the season if he wants to keep that streak alive. Cowboys, Commanders. Okay, this game was on drugs. This game was crazy. Yeah, a lot of chalk plays in DFS yesterday did bomb Luke. Yeah. Yeah, James Conner, he only scored 9. Although I somehow won afternoon slate with James Conner in my lineup and somehow won afternoon slate with Metcalf over Jason when I knew Jason was a better play. I don't know why I used Metcalf. Somehow I still won though. This game was on drugs. Look at this. Look at the game log up here, or the box score. 3 points in the first quarter, 3 points in the second quarter. So at halftime, we're at 3-3. 7-6 in the third, right? So we're looking at 10-9 after the third quarter. What is this fourth quarter score? 24-17. They had an entire game's worth of points in the fourth quarter alone. If you had the under on this game, or if you had the over on this game, like this is either the greatest bet you've ever won or just the worst beat you've ever had. How do they score 24 and 17 points in one quarter? That was insane. Also, the Commanders. I don't know how many times I have to talk about this on these streams. And look, I'm not an NFL coach. I'm not pretending to be. But if you score with basically no time left to tie the game up, you have had to work so hard to get back into a position. Nathan, okay, yeah, you're a Commanders fan. Tell me if I'm wrong in this. Because if you want to say I'm wrong, then go ahead. But I want to say this is my point. When this happens all the time, these teams that are losing, they're losing. They it's so emotional to come back in the last minute of a game. I'm not talking to do this when there's 2 minutes left in the game. When there's essentially no time on the clock, and you've had to work so hard to get that touchdown. Why do you not go for 2? Just go for the win. Why would you want to even bet on yourself? Like, you just had to pull an insane play out of your butt and score that touchdown with no time on the clock. Why would you want to bet on yourself to go do that again in overtime? Like, just get a 2-point conversion and you would have won the game. Why did they try and I don't understand that. I hate when teams do that, dude. Just go for the win. Why do and like it's not likely that you're going to miss that extra point, but like there's a chance. I'd rather take my chance to just get a couple yards. Just go for 2 and you win the game. You have the Cowboys are completely shell-shocked when you scored that touchdown. Like, just go for 2. And I agree on Cliff. I don't know. I'm not I'm kind of indifferent on him. I thought that earlier in the season, like, and this is no slight against Jaden Daniels at all. Like, I think Jaden Daniels is awesome. Obviously, they hit on that draft pick, and I'm excited about the future of the Commanders. I think that they have people in charge that know what they're doing in terms of the front office, right? So I'm bullish on that outlook. But coming into the season, like that first few weeks, they were just really hot, right? Like it was a hot streak. I don't think they were that good. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I think they should be a playoff team, but I don't think they were as good as they played those first couple weeks. It was like they just caught lightning in a bottle. But yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent on Cliff. I wasn't really high on him in Arizona after the first year. It was pretty clear. I don't know. And so I didn't really like the hire of him. I think it's fine. Like clearly I think they should still make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, something's wrong. After the way they started the season. But I don't think they're as good as they were at the beginning of the season. I don't think that they're a bad team either. At the same time, though, they lucked out with that Hail Mary, and then they almost stole another one. You got to win that game yesterday after the Cowboys gift wrapped that game. You got to win that game. Overall, though, this was an awesome game. I don't know how they scored that many points in the fourth quarter, though. That's like actually insane. The Cowboys, I don't know. They are what they are. Cowboys on a short week as well. They play Thursday. Yeah, not impossible for an onside kick, Luke. Hard, but not impossible for sure. All right, what else we got here? Chiefs Panthers. Look, I need everyone, and you're out there. These people are out there, and I don't know if they're watching the stream, but I'm waiting on the Bryce Young. I'm waiting on the Bryce Young apologies. You can fact check my tweets. Go ahead and fact check me about all the times that I expressed how much I like Bryce Young. I would have taken Bryce Young. I caught flack for this when I said I would have taken Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. And that's no slight to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is an awesome quarterback who I love. And right now is a better NFL quarterback than Bryce Young. Correct. But why? We talked about this last week. I think I made a TikTok about this. I'm so sick of microwave reactions to like everything in sports. Why did it become this? I don't understand. Why is every single thing like a one game and you have to overreact to that, and then it's another game and then we overreact to that? I'm so sick of it. Do you honestly want to tell me that CJ Stroud would be what he is right now if he got drafted to the Panthers last year? Like, you can't be serious. You cannot tell me that he would have did what he did in Houston on Carolina. He wouldn't have. And if you honestly think that, like, you're just insane. And Bryce Young, since he got benched this season and came back the last 3 games, this kid has been playing his butt off, dude. This kid can play football. You don't get drafted number 1 in the NFL for no reason. If you put Bryce Young on the Houston Texans, they probably still make the playoffs last year. I'm not saying they would have been as good as they were with CJ last year, but they would have probably still been a playoff team. And if you want to sit there and tell me that, like, look, CJ is great. He has regressed this season, right? He has not played as good this year as he did last year, which was to be expected because he played amazing last year. But, like, where are the Bryce Young apologies? Because I want them. Look what he's done here. The kid's been playing football. He got a win. Drove down late against the Saints, got a win, right? Now, he's not putting up crazy passing numbers, but he's completing over 60% of his passes. He's not turning the ball over, right? Since he came back, okay, take this Denver game. Last 3 games, right? He has 1 pick, 2 wins, and drove down late and got a touchdown to tie the game and the 2-point against the Chiefs. Kid's been playing some football. I want some apologies. And again, I'm not saying Bryce Young is going to be some great quarterback or whatever, but to act like this kid wasn't put in the worst position, like, dude, he was on the Panthers last year. Like, what do you expect from this kid? Yeah, that was definitely helpful. I agree, Luke. And look, this is why these kids don't need to start from day one either. Some kids can and some kids can't. Like, not everyone is the same. Titans and Texans. I mean, this game was insane. I mean, just look at D'Amico Ryan's face right there. I mean, this. Look, the Texans should have won this game. They scored a potentially game-winning touchdown, and it got called back because Joe Mixon shifted illegally for just no reason. I have no idea what Joe Mixon was doing on that play. So that hurt them. Nico Collins had, like I said, he had like a 35-yard touchdown called back yesterday. He had a 70-yard touchdown called back in Monday night last week. So, I mean, his stats could just be huge. And you guys saw on that SportWise page I pulled up, he was firmly, in my opportunity rating, he firmly number 1, up by 6 points on the next closest. Like, this guy is the best receiver for fantasy right now in the NFL. I don't think it's close. It's like him and Chase, I would say, are the top fantasy receivers. And I mean, Justin Jefferson's there, but I'm talking about, what they've done this year. Like JJ has not, really paid off that. He's had some big games, but, you would rather have Chase or Nico Collins over Justin Jefferson on your fantasy team right now. But yeah, so that stuck out. They should have won this game. Good for the Titans, though. I mean, really bad season for them. To get a win like this is encouraging. Will Levis and Nick Westbrook-Akine, this guy somehow scores a long touchdown every single week. I don't know how he does it. Every week, this guy scores a long touchdown. Look at this guy's game log. Look. Why are we not talking about this? This guy scored a touchdown. Nick Westbrook-Akine has scored 6 touchdowns in his last 7 games. What is going on here? 2 for 10 and a touchdown. 1 for 9 and a touchdown. 2 for 40 and a touchdown with a 34-yarder. 5 for 50 and a touchdown, 14-yarder. Then he scored the 98-yard touchdown last week and then had a pretty long touchdown this week. What is this guy? This guy's on like, I don't know. This guy might be on PEDs or something. We need to check this guy. 6 touchdowns in your last 7 games is crazy. And I don't think there is not, if you asked people on ESPN, they couldn't even tell you who this guy is. And he scored 6 touchdowns in his last 7 games. Actually insane. So good win for the Titans. Texans, bad loss. Should have won that game. The second I better play him in DFS, he won't score. Yeah. Yeah, anyone that takes him to score anytime touchdown next week, he definitely will not score now that I brought that up. 100%. Broncos, Raiders. This game helped me ship the afternoon slate DFS. Bo Nix, man, hey, I made that TikTok last week about Bo Nix being 4-1 for Rookie of the Year and how I thought that the Broncos could finish better than the Commanders and he's going to have similar to better passing stats. I just looked at the odds. He was 4-1 when I made that video last week. He is plus 150. He's down to plus 150 for Rookie of the Year. So hopefully anyone that watched that video, hopefully somebody put some sprinkles on that. No, I don't even know if he'll win, but just the fact that we got that line movement tells me that that 4-1 was a bad price. And we have at least a chance now to hit on that bet, which would be pretty cool. This was a good, bad game, though. I mean, there was points scored. Cortland Sutton continues to have a monster season with Bo Nix at quarterback. Their running back situation is just a mess. I hate messing with that. On the Raiders side, Desmond Ridder is so bad. That was one thing I took away. Desmond Ridder is terrible. I mean, he came in at the end of that game. He had Amir Abdullah wide open for like a check down one time, just missed him by like 5 yards. They were in the red zone 2 times to score a touchdown, couldn't get it done. They'd kick a field goal that one time. And then at the end of the game, they missed. I mean, yeah, Desmond Ridder is still terrible. Jacoby Myers, big game, 10 for 121. This was a hurt for Brock Bowers in terms of the rookie reception record. Got to get Brock Bowers more than 4 catches in a game. – 49ers, Packers. I'm not going to say the 49ers are dead, but it ain't looking good. It's not looking good for the 49ers. I don't know why they started Brandon Allen over Josh Dobbs. And I don't even think Josh Dobbs is good, but I think he's probably better than this. Don't know if it would have made a difference. I mean, they got jumped on. Packers was my best bet of the week. I took him at -3 on Friday. They closed at -6.5, and then they won by 28 points. Wasn't even close. That's probably the easiest bet I've made this season, to be honest. But yeah, the 49ers, I'm not going to say it's over, but we're getting close, right? The funeral bells are kind of ringing here for the 49ers season. Josh Jacobs had 26 carries for 106 yards and 3 touchdowns. Matt LaFleur made comments after the game I saw where he said that they might need to get Emmanuel Wilson or Chris Brooks more involved because the Packers play on Thursday, Thanksgiving. They play Thursday night against the Dolphins. Matt LaFleur said we might have to get Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks more involved because of the workload that Josh Jacobs had in this game. So that's something to keep in mind for Thanksgiving DFS. Don't think you'd ever bench him in a season-long league, but Thanksgiving DFS, if he's going to be super chalky, which I don't know, I have not looked at anything, but if he's going to be chalky coming off this game, maybe a reason to fade and just hope that he's not lying. And, instead of 26 carries, maybe he gets like 14 carries or something. Like that could be an edge to be exploited. And then last game in the afternoon window, Seahawks. Our Seahawks, baby. Shout out. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. We bet on them yesterday. They won. I had them as a bet to make the playoffs at almost plus 200 from before the season. This was a monster win. Monster win. They're now in first place in the division. They need to keep winning. Jackson Smith-Njigba, once again, this guy's going to finish as a top 10 fantasy receiver, I think. I mean, just guy's an absolute freak of nature. I hope they can get this done. I'm really pulling for Seattle to win this division. Arizona, man, yeah, I don't know what to say about Marvin Harrison Jr. I was higher. So when he was at Ohio State, I was really kind of enamored with Marvin Harrison Jr. And then as we approached the NFL draft last year, and look, this is not an overreaction. I'm not saying his career is over by any stretch. That's not what I'm saying. He still can be a very, very good NFL receiver. My point is, as we approached the NFL draft last year, I became kind of concerned with what I saw from him. His choice to not work out whatsoever, I thought was concerning. So if we look back, there are receivers that don't work out at the combine, right? Like that's a normal thing. Jamar Chase did that, but Jamar Chase did work out, I think. What my concern was not that he didn't work out at the combine. It was that he didn't do anything at Ohio State's pro day either. He refused to run, which I thought was concerning. And he is fast. Game speed, he is fast. Like if he gets cooking, he's as fast as anyone. Like he'll top out at 20 miles an hour, whatever. But I just thought it was weird that he didn't want to work out. Because if you're someone on the level of Marvin Harrison Jr. or, if you're a guy that's going to get picked top 10 in the NFL and you choose not to run at all at the combine or at your college pro day, it just has to raise a red flag. Like it was concerning to me, to say the least. And that's why coming into the season, I had Malik Neighbors ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr., both in just real life, like what I thought they would do statistically, and in fantasy football. I don't think that there's many people that had Malik Neighbors ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy football this year. Marvin Harrison Jr. was getting picked in the first round of fantasy drafts, and Malik Neighbors was getting picked in like the third and fourth round. So it was quite a differential. I'm not trying to say I'm right, but I'm just saying that reason of why he refused to work out at all and how he looked in Cardinals training camp was a big reason of why I was concerned about him coming into this year. And I was kind of high on him having a breakout game here because of them coming out of the bye week. We see rookie receivers get a bump out of the bye week all the time. Now, he did almost score a touchdown. His foot hit the pylon, and he didn't get 2 feet down. So this box score could look a little bit different, but man, it's just concerning. I don't know. It just doesn't add up. It just does not add up. And I mean, so if we look at last year, there was one guy I said I would not draft in the first round of drafts, and it was Bijan Robinson. And it wasn't because I thought Bijan Robinson was bad. It was because I was concerned with his workload, which proved to be true. There was one player I said I wouldn't draft in the first round of fantasy football drafts this year. It was Marvin Harrison Jr. If you drafted Marv in your first round of your draft, your team has to just be cooked. Like, there's just no way. Unless you're really in tuned and crushed the later rounds, I think it would be really hard to overcome taking him in the first round when there were guys around him, Barkley, Henry, both those guys went after him. Jamar Chase went near him. I feel like it's really tough to overcome that if you drafted him in the first round of your league. But that was my main takeaway from this game. Just really thought he was going to have a big game here, and he didn't. And then JSN just continues to ascend. JSN is probably going to be a league winner down the stretch. I mean, if we look at the Seattle Seahawks games for the remainder of the season here, I mean, at New York, okay, like maybe you could make an argument that's a tough matchup, though. Attacking them over the middle of the field is easier than the outside, so that plays in there. Arizona, he just cooked. Green Bay, he can have success against. Minnesota, he can have success against. And these are going to be good total games, right? Like on the road, Seattle at Minnesota is going to be a decent total game. So I don't know. I'm pretty high on Jason for the remainder of the season. I was high on him coming into the season. Last game, last night, Saquon Barkley. What a bad day for Giants fans, right? I mean, they have to watch Tommy DeVito pretend to play NFL quarterback all day and then just watch Saquon Barkley run for 255 yards on Sunday Night Football. Now, this is not to say that the Giants should have kept Saquon Barkley because they shouldn't have. Their team is bad. They can't really afford to be paying running backs at this point, but it was just like salt in the wound for all Giants fans that they had to watch a guy. It's like Tommy DeVito, he's an NFL quarterback for Halloween, right? Like he's not an actual NFL quarterback. So you had to watch that for 3 hours on Sunday and then end the day with Carrie Underwood bringing you home and Saquon Barkley sending you to bed with 255 rushing yards. Just absolutely insane. Eagles are a wagon. I said a few weeks ago, I thought they were going to go on a run. They have done that. They're 9-2 now. They are significantly better than they were last year. And in my humble opinion, this Eagles team is significantly better than the Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think in the NFC right now, I think you're looking at the Lions or the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. The AFC is much more open. Now, the Chiefs are going to be tough to beat in the playoffs, as they always are, but there's more teams in the AFC that I think could make Super Bowl as opposed to the NFC. I don't really see any NFC team that could actually go to the Super Bowl other than Philly or Detroit. And maybe I'll get proven wrong. I think the Packers are in that next tier. I guess I'd put the Vikings in that next tier. But yeah, I think Philly or Detroit is going to be your NFC representative in the Super Bowl. Since part of me wants a Eagles-Chiefs rematch. I know the people don't want that, but I would like an Eagles-Chiefs rematch. I think that'd be fun. I mean, this team is just so good. And also, I wanted to make a comment on Saquon Barkley. So this has been like a narrative the last 10 years in the NFL. Like we've seen the devaluation of running backs, right? Like they really don't get picked in the first round anymore. Once or twice. Like Bijan got picked in the first round. And then we'll probably see Ashton Genty get picked in the first round. But overall, running backs really don't get picked in the first round anymore. They don't get paid huge contracts once their rookie deal is up, right? Not a lot of guys get that. I feel like we've overcorrected that, though, because if you look at Saquon Barkley, he got paid, quote unquote, paid a big contract. It really isn't a big contract, right? It's significantly smaller than some of the running back contracts we've seen. Adrian Peterson, for example, and guys in that tier. Saquon Barkley, while he got a big contract, it was still less in average annual value than some of those guys. So I feel like the market, I saw someone talk about this on Twitter too, which gave me the idea. Like it's so true. So forgive me, whoever made this point on Twitter. Shout out. I don't remember what the account was. I just saw it on my timeline, but we've overcorrected the valuation of these running backs because if you're a good team like the Eagles, you can afford to pay a Saquon Barkley when you're not even paying them that much, right? Like it wasn't a smart move for the Giants to pay him, but for a team like the Eagles or a team like the Ravens, getting Derrick Henry, these are smart moves to make nowadays, especially with how the position's valued. You can get good deals on the best running backs in football. Like Saquon Barkley is the best running back in football still, and you can get him on a great deal just because, a bad team's not going to give him that money. Overall, though, yeah, Eagles are a wagon. Saquon Barkley's a wagon. We if we don't get Eagles Lions in the playoffs, we were robbed. Like, I don't want any upsets. I don't want any Cinderella teams. I just want Philly and Detroit and the NFC Championship game. That's all I want. Just give me those two teams, barring health, assuming that they stay relatively healthy up until then. I just want those two teams. Winner goes to the Super Bowl like how it should be. All right, Monday Night Football. If anyone has any questions on anything, go ahead and ask. Monday night, we have really good game tonight. Ravens and Chargers. Everyone and their mom is going to be on the Ravens here. I'm seeing 76% of the spread bets on Baltimore, or 75%, it looks like. 75% of the bets on the spread are on the Ravens here. Everyone is going to be on the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, Luke, I just saw your comment. A lot of people are saying Purdy was a system quarterback and anyone can play on that team. Yeah, completely agree. Now, I will say Brandon Allen really is not an NFL quarterback. So, I don't know if we can fully compare that, but 100%. I mean, Brock Purdy is a good NFL quarterback. He's like a top 12 NFL quarterback, I would say. Maybe top 10. He might be fringe top 10. Brock Purdy, fringe top 10 NFL quarterback. But I also think, let's say, for example, last year the Niners' backup was Sam Darnold, right? If you would have plugged Sam Darnold in on that team last night, they would have been completely fine. Brandon Allen is not really, an NFL quarterback. But, yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy is good. He went from being severely overrated. Brock Purdy was the Josh Allen, archetype. It's the exact same career archetype. Josh Allen went from being severely overrated to now severely underrated. And it's because he's developed and become one of the best players in the NFL. But Josh Allen's underrated, right? And it's kind of corrected this year. But last year and the year before, because he threw a bunch of interceptions, people were like, this guy sucks. Dude, you're going to throw interceptions when you have to do every single thing for your team. Brock Purdy last year was severely overrated. When he was the MVP favorite, that was peak overvaluing Brock Purdy. He's now flipped. Now he's underrated. He is a fringe top 10 quarterback, but he's just not the best quarterback like he was being made out to be. I made a season-long parlay on Prize Picks. Kicker 50-yard field goals. I need Dicker for one more to cash the slip. So you have 7 weeks for him to kick a 50-yard field goal. Hopefully he just hits it tonight and you don't have to worry about it. Hopefully he hits it tonight. Because, Luke, could you imagine if he a couple weeks goes by and he doesn't get it? Could you imagine if you're sitting around week 15, week 16, sweating that out? He needs to just get that out of the way. But yeah, all right. Monday Night Football. We've got the Har Bowl Part 2, right? They met up in the Super Bowl. Get a little rematch here. Ravens, Chargers. Ravens are going to be super public here. Ravens are the better team. Chargers have been running hot. The Chargers are a good team, but they've been running hot, right? They shouldn't have beat the Bengals last week. They choked that lead. McPherson missed multiple kicks. They should have lost that game. So I understand that angle. The Chargers have been running hot. The Ravens, it's a buy low spot because they're coming off a loss. The Ravens are the better team. I understand it. I don't know if I'll bet a side of this game, but that's kind of my take on the overall thing. I understand why people are going to the Ravens here. It's going to be super public. I don't really worry about public betting splits in the year 2024, but I just figured I would mention that I do think they will be pretty public side of this game. I'm going to have my full preview for this game up on the Rolling Insights blog so later today. So go. So first of all, go sign up for Rolling Insights right here. Create a free account. You can sync up your season-long league. You can create all sorts of data spaces. It's like a spreadsheet on steroids. Be sure to go do that. You also, if you create a free account, you'll get my emails. So I send out email newsletters quite often. So my blog will be on the website for free. I'll also send it out in an email for you guys later tonight, but I'll have my full preview for this game up later today on the blog. I really like this angle for Justin Herbert. The Ravens are one of the bottom teams in the league in pass DVOA. They've been getting absolutely torched through the air. Justin Herbert has been smashing passing the ball. Now, my only concern is, which was my concern last week, when they had Gus Edwards, when they have not had Gus Edwards, they've really ripped the ball and thrown the ball. When they've had Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins both healthy, they've gone run heavy. They did that against the Titans, though they were winning that game. They tried to do it last week against the Bengals, but then they started just picking up huge chunk plays through the air. And then, the Ravens or the Bengals started coming back, so they really couldn't get in that spot. So if they come out and they play smart football, which would be attacking the Ravens at their weak point, which is in their secondary, I think Justin Herbert could have a really, really big game here. So I'm interested in the over passing yards for Justin Herbert. He's at 263.5 on FanDuel right now. He's topped that in 4 of his last 5 games. So I'm interested in that angle. I'm interested in Ladd McConkey, who will probably be another popular pick. So if you wanted either Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnston, one of them is going to have a big game tonight. I'm willing to bet on Ladd McConkey here. A, I'm completely biased towards him, but B, Ravens are top 12 in the NFL in man coverage. They play pretty man heavy relative to the other teams in the league, right? If you're grading out top 12, you're in the top half of the league in man coverage. You cannot play man coverage against Ladd McConkey. Okay. Good luck. Good luck trying to man up Ladd McConkey. This guy's going to put whoever they try to man him up with, he is going to absolutely cook them. Unlike anything you've ever seen. His prop line is at 64.5 yards. If they try to single cover this kid and man him up, he is going to put them in a blender and have 100 receiving yards. So that's my take there. I like Ladd McConkey tonight. You can take his over 64.5. You can alternate him up to 100 plus. I mean, we're getting 3-1 on 100 receiving yards when he literally just had 100 receiving yards last week. And he's in a better matchup tonight. So Ladd McConkey, 100 plus yards, definitely interested in him. He ranks out, Pro Football Focus has him, I think, 3rd overall against man coverage this year in terms of just their grading system. If we look at his fantasy point numbers against man coverage, they're his highest coverage split as well. There is just no way. There's just no way. If they man him up, he's going to cook. So give me Ladd McConkey over his passing yards or receiving yards and 100 plus as well. That's my main takeaways from this game early. Like I said, I'll have my full preview up on the blog later today. Be sure to go create a free account on SportWise. Go to Rolling Insights, click SportWise, create your free account, and be on the lookout for my newsletter later today as well. Pretty long stream today, almost an hour. Really good viewership in here, so thank you guys. If you're in here watching, please go sub to the Rolling Insights YouTube channel. We're live on there too, but we post YouTube videos over there, and we'll have some out today. I'll have some content coming out for the Thanksgiving Day football slate as well, so go sub to that YouTube channel. It would really help me. We're starting from the ground up on that YouTube channel, so it would really help me if you guys just go click one button. Appreciate all of you. Good luck with your bets tonight. Good luck with your fantasy teams tonight. I will be live all week this week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, expect streams from me. We will have lots to talk about tomorrow. Good luck tonight, and I'll see everybody tomorrow at 11.